All righty. This is Sister Crystal here with Other Side of 40, aka Miss VHS. Trying to come on here on time. I hope everyone can see me and hear me clearly. Um, Hope everyone is having a good day. Maybe some of you are out there doing your Black Friday shopping or what have you. Um, I did Black Friday shopping one time about 20 something years ago. That was my first time and that was my last time. But anywho, I wanted to come on here and kind of just do an update on my carpal tunnel surgery. Um, when Before I had the surgery, I went searching to get some more information about it. I couldn't hardly find any. So I was like, well, you know, I just had to go with the what my doctors recommended because I had started having a little nerve pain in my hands. I think it was about 5 years before I actually had the surgery. It came and went. And so I did a lot of things leading up to having the surgery. 1 year ago today, um, on November 29th, 2018, is when I had bilateral carpal tunnel surgery. And for those who don't know what that is that's I had a hand surgery, a nerve cut from both of my hands at the same time. I needed it on both hands. And so, because of my lifestyle and everything, it was best for me to go ahead and have them both done at the same time instead of getting one done one time and then come back and have the other one done. I figured that would be 2 doctor's visits and, you know, it would just take longer if since I needed both of them done, just go ahead and have them both done at the same time and the recovery would be, you know, I figured it'd be less time for recovery because I'm going ahead and I got them done at the same time. Um, Depending on your lifestyle and your family situation, you may not be able to have both of your hands done at the same time, and that's fine. But I was just saying, just for my situation, it was best for me to go ahead and have the surgery done. But what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about what I did leading up to it, and really surgery was the last resort. I really didn't want to have surgery. Um, but in my situation, they were saying if I waited too long, it would have been possible that it might have been too late for me for surgery to actually do anything to actually help me um, with my nerve pain in my hands. So, like I said, my nerve pain in my hands had started maybe about 6 years, well, about 5 years before I actually had the surgery. It was on and off. The year leading up to me having the surgery, I was having constant pain, numbness and pain in my fingers. And the first thing I thought about was, well, maybe it was diabetes because diabetes run in my family. And come to find out, no, it wasn't diabetes. Um, so some of the first things we started doing leading up to me having the surgery was I had, it was recommended that I buy a one of those wristbands. What do you call them? Like a splint. And I'm just demonstrating it. So what this does, you can get it from any store, any pharmacy, like I want to make sure I got it, like a Walgreens or a CVS or wherever. Um, get one of these. The idea of this is supposed to keep your hand straight to kind of alleviate some of the pain and pressure off of your nerves. So that's why you wear this. The problem is it's difficult to do, at least it was difficult for me to do any work with this thing on. And I don't have it totally on right. I'm just doing this just to kind of show as a demonstration, but I couldn't do any work with it. It really didn't alleviate any pain. So that didn't help. So this is the first thing. And then the second thing that was tried was I was getting cortisone shots and mind you, I needed in both hands. So I was getting shot. I got a shot in both hands. I think it's called cortisone shot. Now, one thing about those shots, even for people, if it works, it's recommended that you don't continue with the shots. You don't keep getting the shots because those kind of what they say, it kind of breaks down your something. It's bad to keep getting the shots because it does something to your nerves or something like that. So even if it works, the shots is a temporary thing. Now for me, the cortisone shots or whatever you call it, that didn't help. It didn't help for me at all. So that was the second thing that was tried. And so, and then the last thing, well, I was also doing exercises. They were talking about do some type of exercises that might help. That didn't work. So the last thing was the surgery. So one of the things, like I said earlier, I really went, before I had the surgery, I was searching around for people to see did they know someone that had the carpal tunnel surgery that I could talk to and talk to about their experiences. I could not find a single person that I could talk to about have they had carpal tunnel surgery. Now, a lot of people have heard about it, but not a single person that I talked to knew someone or told me they knew someone that had carpal tunnel surgery. Or if they did know someone, I'm getting sweaty. But if they did know someone that they weren't, it wasn't like they told them all the details or whatever. So, but after I had the surgery, everybody and their mama said they knew somebody and so and so got the surgery and they was able to go back to work after a few days and all that. But no one was able to tell me anything before I had the surgery. So that's one thing. Maybe that's not important, but when you start getting out here and looking for different things on carpal tunnel, like even on here, and I'm not, throwing shade or anything like that, but even on here on YouTube, I went searching for carpal tunnel. And the earliest videos that I found on carpal tunnel was like from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm like, wow. Now, more recently, I had seen some from a year ago, but that was, after I had my surgery or what have you. And then the ones I did see, there was none that was like bilateral carpal tunnel surgery. They weren't doing both hands at the same time. So mine was kind of unique. I couldn't find anything like that. So I figured I'm going to do the best I can and kind of share my experience. It's just my experience. One thing I've learned is everyone's experience is different, from your overall health, your age, and all of that will determine how your body will heal after you have the carpal tunnel surgery. Now, okay, so one of the things, so I did share, I knew very little about the carpal tunnel surgery before I had it. Now, one thing I did was told from a nurse, she was saying, make sure that you have gloves, and that piece of advice was very helpful. These plastic gloves, latex gloves. If you're allergic to latex, they have vinyl gloves. Um, but these were essential. I had carried a bunch of them in my purse everywhere I went, where I washed my hands or, um, you know, taking care of your business and everything. You had to cover your hands because, mind you, a year ago, I had, well, this is a year later, looks a lot better. Now, I was going to try to show like before. I did find my video from one of my other channels, but for some reason, I'm having a hard time like bringing it up here on the screen because I was going to try to do a screen share, and I'm not sure how to do that, but I was, um, let me see if this works. I have it on my phone, and this is from last year, from December 4th, and I want to try to make it so I don't show anybody, but let me show you from before. This is a year ago, so let me do this. So this is a lot more stitches in. This one also is itching more than this one. I don't know if you can see. This is the older, more experienced one. Now my hand is of the old school. I'm not trying to put as many what do you call that? Stitches. Now let me stop this. Let me stop that. That was, my hand was swollen. And what you also saw, if you was able to see, was they actually marked their initials on each hand. I had two different doctors do both of my hands. One doctor, the older doctor, did my left hand. This is my left hand. And then the younger doctor was, he hadn't been doing surgery for very long. He did my right hand. So they wrote their initials and marked where they did the cutting, like right in the middle. So I have two different doctors do each hand. And I was awoke during the entire procedure. And the reason I was awoke during the entire procedure, because I was supposed to go in there fasting, and I woke up being nervous, and I ended up eating a piece of salami around 3 o'clock in the morning. And I told them, something told me, go ahead and tell them. And they was like, well, let's see if we can still have the surgery, because I was worried that I wouldn't be able to have the surgery at all. So they said, yeah, you can still have the surgery, but we can't put you out. You're going to have to get something called local anesthetic, where you're going to be awoke this time. But the thing with being awoke is, once the procedure is over, you don't have to stay. Like when they put you out, and what I mean by putting you out, when they put you under anesthesia and you go out, once they bring you out of it, out of surgery, you have to stick around for about 45 minutes to an hour to make sure you're all right and everything. Because I was awoke during the entire procedure, I didn't have to sit around at all. I did have to have somebody with me and stay with me. And they tell you that in the instructions with the surgery like that. I also brought a pillow to rest my hands on, because my hands was very sore, and it's easy to, when you rub up your hands up against something after you had that kind of surgery. Now the surgery, it only took about, the surgery itself was maybe about 20 minutes, if that. It didn't take very long at all. Now the worst thing about the local anesthetic is I had to get shot in my hand twice. Whereas if I had not ate that salami, I would have gotten the IV drip one time in my arm, and that would have been it. But because I had to do the local anesthesia, I had to be awake and get shot in each hand, and that one, that was kind of uncomfortable. But after the initial, feeling of that, it was over with. I didn't feel anything else. and they actually talk to you and ask you, you know, do you feel anything and all that. Um, they're really concerned that you are not uncomfortable and everything. And actually, after the surgery, I'm kind of glad that I was awoke. Now, I wasn't watching. They put like a tent over me, so I couldn't see what they were doing as far as the surgery. But I heard them talking and they was joking, and I just remember I woke up. Well, I wasn't asleep, but I remember them singing Miss Mary Mac, 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 all dressed in black. I'm like, what is y'all doing? So had I been out, I wouldn't have heard that. And so I don't know. That was an experience. But so you know, okay. So I'm skipping. Okay, leading up some of the lessons learned. So let me backtrack. Now knowing what I know, one thing I would have done better was prepare my home better for when I come home, knowing that I would have um, limited use of my hands for a while. So I would have done more like moving furniture around and stuff like that. I would have done more of that, um, preparing for when I have to reach for stuff. Um, One of the things I had to do was I'm thankful I had my son to help me. He had the pre-open bottles of water and stuff like that because my hands was weak and I wasn't able to I had a hard time like opening doorknobs and opening bottles of water and stuff with my hands. It took a while. It took about a couple of weeks before I was able to open my own bottle of water. And it was mainly because I didn't have the hand strength in order to open up bottles of water and stuff like that after I had the surgery. So, one of the things I would say for somebody, even if you're only getting one done, especially if it's your dominant hand, let's say you're right handed and the doctor's telling you you need to have this surgery on your right hand, make sure that you have you just know that you might be unable to do a lot of stuff that you usually do, like button up a button. Like one of the things I had trouble doing, which I was already kind of prepared, was I guess it's more for women, like your brasiers. You know, putting your brassiere on, and it has all those clips and stuff. It was difficult for me to do that. So I bought sports bras that don't have the little clips on there because it's difficult for me to, you know, fasten them up while my hands was recovering from the surgery. And it was like that for about a month for me. So um, for women, it's good to buy a sports bra. Um, your shoes, tying your shoes might be an issue. I know it was for me. I got the kind of shoes that you can slip your feet into and not have to tie them because, you know, both I had limited use of my hands. So shoes that you can slide your feet in. Um, what's another thing? Um, okay, so shoes that you can slide your feet in. Also, be mindful that you want to always keep your hands covered. Now, what I did was they gave me a few when I went home, but I bought these bandages and they're really big. They're kind of expensive. These are like about $5, $6. You get 10. But this, and I'll take one out. I'm not gonna open it. But this is what you put over your hand. Like after they take the bandage off the first 3 days, I will put this on over my hand right here, and I would put the glove on for when I'd take a shower. And I took showers, mostly showers. I could not submerge my hand in water for a while. So like dishwater and stuff, I never could find the type of dish gloves that wouldn't allow like water to seep in. So I know the first 2 weeks you do not want to submerge your hand in water. You just want to steer clear of that. Um, Another thing I learned too, as your hands start to heal, is this middle part right here was very sore. So some of the things, once it started healing up enough, oh, that's another thing. Now for me, because of my, I guess my health condition or whatever, I had to go to hand rehab. Now, a lot of people that have carpal tunnel surgery, they may not have to do hand rehab, but I did. And so some of the things I ended up getting was, this is like a hand massager. You can get this off of Amazon.com. I think this is the only place I was able to find it, but this cost about $15 or something like that. And then you just rub over the little part right here, and it kind of massages that part when it you want to try to train the nerve to get back smooth again. So this is something, hand massager. Another thing too, I have this, and I would do hand exercises. I still do the hand exercises, just so that your nerves can get back. I mean, you just had a nerve cut, so it's very important for you to do exercises to get your hands back. I don't want to say back. Well, yeah, back to normal, whatever. I also had to do hand exercises using Play-Doh and stuff like that. It's amazing how much when you have your nerves cut, like I had to do some exercises like picking up pennies and putting them back one at a time. These are things that people take for granted when you don't have issues with your hands. But when you have limited use of your hands, like I did at one point, every little milestone was a big deal. Like it was, how long did it take me? It took me about a month before I was able to turn a doorknob without it being excruciatingly painful. And then it was about 3 months before I was able to even have enough strength to cut a whole chicken. So that was my situation, but not everybody goes through that. Another thing I got from the doctor is this. I had to put this. This is I forgot what you call this, but this was something. It was just from my left hand that was swollen, and I would put this on so that I can you know how, when people don't realize that when you push down and when you get up in the morning and you push down on your palm, we don't realize how much. I think I got it on here wrong. I do. Anyway, I got it on here wrong. But anyway, when you push down, we don't realize that can be very painful if you had your nerves cut right here. So I had to use that until my nerves gotten strong enough that it's not painful to do that. So yeah, I guess this is just for me, and for anyone that might see the replay, just commemorating the 1 year anniversary of bilateral carpal tunnel surgery. And as you can see, it looks a lot better now. You can barely see. I can see where it's at, but now you can barely see where it was from last year. Let me see if I can show this again. Let's see. More stitches in. It does look a lot more neater, but that was my right hand. Uh-oh. It's trying to. Well, anyway, I guess you can see that. And then I'm stopping it too because I'm saying some other stuff, and I just, but don't want to play that. But yeah, so I just wanted to commemorate that. Um, so just to wrap it up, if you find yourself in a situation where the doctors is telling you that you may need carpal tunnel surgery, make sure you just go through the other things first to make sure, you know, your situation can't be relieved by just using a brace or something like that, and work your way up. But don't wait too late. If they say that, if the doctors say that you're going to need this surgery, you know, be sure you talk to your family. Make sure you have somebody that can help you or check on you, because you are going to be kind of, even if you just get one done, um, it's going to be really tough for you to do a lot of your daily tasks while you're healing and everything. I know for me, I wasn't able to like drive. Like my hands were so sore. I had the stitches in for 2 weeks. So while I had the stitches in, it was very itchy and everything. And I guess maybe because I had the stitches in, it was very difficult for me to move my fingers. So I wasn't able to drive and all that kind of stuff for a couple of weeks. So again, it depends on your overall health and everything. Some people can go back driving and everything a few days after they have the surgery. Others, like myself, it was a couple of weeks before I was able to drive again. And it was several months before I was able to have the strength to really cut through, like use a knife and cut through bone and stuff like that, like whole chickens and stuff like that. But again, that's my experience. That doesn't mean it's going to be your experience if you have the carpal tunnel surgery. But make sure, if you need to get it, don't wait too long. Because from my understanding, it is possible to wait too long to get the surgery, and then the surgery may not help. I am also aware that even though I had the surgery, that it's possible that years on down the line, I may have to get the surgery again for whatever reasons. So I am aware of that. But again, that may not be the situation for everyone. I know on the day that my last day in hand rehab, I ran into a woman that had had the same surgery that I had. In fact, I think she had both of her hands done at the same time, like 30 years ago. And she was back in to have the surgery done again. So this lady was in her 80s or something like that. So I'm like, okay, that's something I can keep in the back of my mind, that it's possible that I may have to get the surgery again. Um, I guess just because, your body changes or whatever. But the main thing is it worked. It helped alleviate the nerve and tingling and numbness that I had in my hands. It was unbearable. So, you know, even though I was kicking and screaming, I really didn't want to have the surgery. Um, I'm glad I had the surgery. At least I can have some relief from that pain. So this is Sister Crystal with Other Side of 40. Um, but again, this is a year later, and you can barely tell. So have a good night, and I will talk to you guys soon.